go. We are back in the studio after a little bit of a vacation for episode number 11 of How to Become a Sales Warrior. I am here with my co-host, Ty White.
How you doing, everybody?
How you been, Ty?
I've been great, man. I've been working my butt off. The weather's broke, and it's
Things are starting to pick up?
Things are picking up like crazy, and I needed a few, a couple of weeks to. I'm doing the rebranding. We made that small announcement last week, so as we're starting to do that, the jobs start picking up, and I'm like, oh man, I'm trying to do a million things at once, but I feel great. It's a good problems to have.
So we are here to educate a younger generation of men and women in the sales field. I took this initiative when I started writing my book. Initially, it was just going to be an autobiography, and then I realized that there were some great teaching moments that could help young men and women cut short that 20-year climb to get to the top of the sales chart. Maybe we could take off 3, 5, 10 years, depending on what you take out of the book. But everything I put in the book was how it took me 20 years, what I learned, how I got there, and now I want to share it with young folks like yourself.
Absolutely, yeah, and a lot of those things streamline that process for me. My first couple of years in business, I was making a lot of mistakes, and learning from mistakes is great. But if you have somebody that can help you avoid some of those, that's always better.
Yeah, because you don't lose as much money. That's the real part. That's the real part.
Mistakes in business mean losing money.
So we're gonna jump into the book. Ty wanted me to read from the book. He thought that might be a good way to go. So if I could find my glasses here. Yes. All right. So we're going to page 16. Chapter 16. And it's called The Big Close. So when I wrote this was about people who have aspirations to be on top. Mm-hmm. People who are winners at whatever they do. They're not going to stop until they get there. Those kind of people. So The Big Close starts out with, are you a high income? Are you the top guy on your team? Are you top 5? Are you top 10? Where do your goals say you are in 30, 60, 90 days from here? What do you need to close to improve your status? Mm-hmm. And for myself, I don't even need the book anymore, because for me, everywhere I went to sell, I started on the bottom. Mm-hmm. So there's only one way to go.
One way to go. Yeah.
So you don't know how you measure up until you actually start putting in the work and putting in the time and putting in the effort to be the best. Mm-hmm. And what I've learned about sales, and my friend Vinny over there, he'll attest to this. It's your presence. Yeah. When he walked in the door, I said, "Are you ready?" I'm born ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
He's
like
a sales
that.
guy. I'm
yeah.
ready. There are many men and women like us who are ready, but there are others who aren't. And they wonder why they don't climb the charts, and they wonder why they stay down. And it's, diving inside yourself, why aren't I succeeding?
Well, you see, me, when I was younger, I had a knack. I was good at talking to people, right? So when I go into these sales jobs, I would be good at it naturally, but I wouldn't actually put in any work on any of the stuff that we consider the intangibles and the things like that to actually make it consistent, though. You can hit a high number once in a while, but if you actually sit there and do the extra stuff, the work and all of those follow-ups, so the stuff that you taught me, that's where your real numbers come from. Not just because you can just get a one-off every couple of, once in a while. I mean, you got to really put the work in.
I have a statement here. It's my action statement, and it's further on in the chapter.
Yeah.
But it really represents who I am. And you've been around me for a little over a year now. And the action statement, one of the two for the chapter, is go big or go home. Mm-hmm. I don't mean that to be cocky. I don't mean that to be, you got to be the loudest guy in the room. Your presence.
Yeah.
What kind of presence do you have when you are out in the field, you're networking, you're at trade shows, you're at events? What kind of presence do you have? Mm-hmm. I don't think I've taken you to a single event where I didn't walk in and someone say, "Hey, Eddie Pods is here." Yeah. And when we went out the other night.
Well, that goes to some of the stuff that, we've learned in some of our own groups, and what's your context, and sometimes when you feel as you're not performing or you're not where you need to be, that's the first question you need to ask yourself is, what's my context right now in this very moment, you know? And you could use, like I said, whatever word you want. I'm ready to go. I'm on fire. That's your context. You're on fire.
Ready to go.
And that's how you walk into any room, and sit down and talk to anybody, even when they're being standoffish and you're like, nope. I'm gonna crack that code.
I get very grateful when I get to bring you to new events and meet new people. And this event that we went to, Atomic Networking Group, we're going to give them a shout out because you walked in there not knowing what to expect. You were dressed right. And within first 5 minutes of meeting the very first person, Tom said, I might have a lead for you.
Yeah, the meeting didn't even start yet. Didn't even start yet. He's like, I got somebody that needs to move.
You were just being you.
Yeah.
You were just telling them, this is what I do. And it resonates with people and makes people say, I might be able to help you. And, you know, I'm bringing you into different rooms where that's our goal over there. How can we help each other? Yeah. What can we do to grow your business? You know, part of the reason for this podcast is to grow your business, grow my business. You know, I know my business is strong, but you got to keep feeding it. Whether, the book, the podcast, it's all feeding the pod's business for now. But being able to walk into that room and grab someone's attention within that impressed me. I wanted you to know that.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah,
thank you. I appreciate it. Well, that's not, it's also our energy as well together, and how we're able to feed off of what each other, like how our industries fit so well and what we both provide for people. So once we start getting into a little banter about it, you've seen them line up.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I have.
Realty offices.
Yes, I have. Yes,
we had a line of people come and give us cards.
All right. So I'll let you read this out.
We got networking tips for this week. Yep. All right.
We got one good one.
Okay. If money is tight, go to events as a guest. Many are free. And I've taken advantage of that myself.
So chambers, you can dial up any chamber calendar. Mm-hmm. Call up, go as a guest. Might be a $35 fee for the event. You don't have to pay $600 to join for the year. You can go as a guest. Mm-hmm. You can call up any networking group that hosts, and there's hundreds of groups across Long Island. You can call up and say, "Can I come as a guest?"
Yeah,
they may charge you breakfast. My networking group, we have our people come in. We don't charge them. You come as a guest, we buy you breakfast. We're hoping you'll join our group. But when people say I don't have the money, bullshit. Yeah, I don't have the time. You're lazy. You don't want to be successful.
I've sat in sometimes at a referral group for a lunch, and they give you hey, you can come 3 times or 2 or 3 times. In those 2 or 3 times, I might have met who I needed to meet already, and I'm like, because they're not gonna not use me. But I've also seen people who brought me a significant amount of business slow that down because I didn't come to their specific
and then they get a little pissy at you.
Yeah,
hey, you coming? You joining?
And then you see the lead start slowing down a little bit from that.
It is what it is. It is what it is. So trade show tip. I'll let you read this one too because I'm looking at my trade show tip.
Let's see. Have a winning booth design.
Boom!
Yeah, boom. I was getting ready to point to it. Even your pod setup is great too.
This was designed to do trade shows, to do a podcast. And again, having worked with pods, I have had some good ones, but here's the funny story. They saw mine. My marketing team saw this. I showed it to them. They asked me for the number of my company. They're buying 2 of these similar setups, packages, one for the East Coast, one for the West Coast, because I showed them this is hot. This is jump at you. I got a pull-up sign, as you see.
Quick setup,
quick
easy
setup,
to travel
right
with.
Price. I mean, okay, it was a little with tax with like $1,100 for those who. What does it cost? It's about $1,100, but it's custom.
But you also, it's not just this. You have a whole.
I have a table with a drape around it, and
this is just what you use for this.
3-foot pull-up sign that goes up 6 feet, and it all fits inside a case that weighs 48 pounds, so I could ship it without getting charged over fees.
Yeah,
anything over 50 pounds you pay for. So right design, right message. Don't go to a show if you're not ready.
Yeah.
That's the bigger tip. Be ready. Be impressive. Have people go, whoa.
And your tchotchkes.
Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that another time. You know what time it is, Ty?
It is old-fashioned time. And who do we have coming down this week?
Vinny Giacalone is coming in. He is the organized guy.
Organized guy.
Yeah, I've known Vinny
I can't wait to hear about this.
Quite a few years. He's an excellent lead referral partner with me. We do a lot of business. I hate saying it. He gives me more than I give him, but that's not what we do. We're just there to, if there's an opportunity, we help each other. And, that's the beauty of working with people like Vinny. Whatever happens. We're trying for everybody.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we're gonna take a break right now. We'll be back in a couple minutes, and we'll do old-fashioned time.
All righty.
We are back for episode number 11 of How to Become a Sales Warrior podcast. We have our special guest, Vinny Giacalone. Say hello, Vinny.
Hello, everybody. How you doing?
How you doing,
Vinny, where are you from?
Glad to have you.
I am based out of Massapequa, New York.
All right, well, we're going to get off our toast, our old-fashioned toast,
Okay.
before we get into what
yeah.
old-fashioned is all about. Salute, everybody. Ty, why don't you take it away and tell us what old-fashioned is about and why we do this?
So old-fashioned time, you like that?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I like it.
Old-fashioned time is something dedicated to our friendship and how we met. It's the first drink that we had together at our first networking group that we sat down and decided we had something, there was a there. So it also represents our friendship in a sense of there's always a new way to do business and there's always an old-fashioned way to do business. That both work. And that kind of has been our connection throughout this year and a half of us doing business together, us traveling together, and that's what it signifies. So we usually start off by giving an old way to do business and a new way. So this week we're talking about how people pay. So before, again, one more toast. I always tell the story.
Yeah.
We tell the story and then we toast
then
again.
we
Clink,
toast.
clink, clink.
Payments. So checks versus credit card versus ACH. How do you take payment?
I do cash, check. I can do charge, but big tree, Venmo, Zelle. That's become the most popular.
You didn't focus on charge. You try to avoid charge?
It's not that I try to avoid it, but more people I found, especially as we came out of the pandemic, it went from a lot of people paying cash to can I just Venmo you? Can I Zelle you?
Yeah.
Great, no problem.
Okay.
Let's do it. So I walk out of the my appointment. I'm always paid. When I walk out, by the time I get in my car, I'm already getting the notification. I've been paid.
Tell us some of the struggles you've had.
Well, with credit card payments, what I've noticed is there's a lot of different things. I do junk removal, moving, packing. I pack and load pods, anything that comes with labor. So a lot of times I'm there physically or my crew's there physically, but in an event that it's a corporate account or maybe the person's job is paying for it, they might give us a card on the phone. And anytime that you run a card manually, let's say anything happens and the chargeback comes for any reason, you have no defense against that.
Correct.
Because the card wasn't ran physically. You run the card physically, you have a 90% chance of winning that,
Correct.
winning that chase against that chargeback. These are things I didn't know in the beginning. I was so comfortable with taking a card upon close over the phone, keeping it in my CRM. Guys get done with the job, punch it in, boom. But then there's miscommunication issues with like a job I did and the person's job paid for it, and there's probably miscommunication between them. Let's say he doesn't even work there anymore and the job says, hey, we're not paying for that. Charges back, $2,800.
Right.
And since I entered it manually, I'm screwed.
Mm-hmm.
So a way to get around that is our credit card processing sends a text. So as soon as you get done with the job, you put in a number, text their phone, they text to pay.
Right.
So
Which is authorizing the payment.
it's on their end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all you want to avoid at all costs putting in a credit card number from your end. And I was so comfortable doing it because in I don't know how many years, nothing ever happened. But when it happens, it happens. And when you get that one person that just wants to screw you or just whatever the situation is. And I do a business where I'm right in your face. Once the job is done, you pay. There's really no gray area there.
I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
I'm right there. Let's pay it.
Yeah, let's pay it. Job's done. Take the picture. Here you go. So I encourage people, or definitely people my age in business who are just getting into business, don't just take the credit card. And there's other ways. Text it. Have the client put that in their hands, and whether it's a text to pay, whether you have the machine with their physically. If they tap their card physically, you're good.
Right.
But entering it manually leaves you in
But if you are, make sure you have a credit card authorization form. Although it's not an ironclad agreement, at least you have it, because the credit card will ask you on a chargeback. Do you have any proof? Do you have a piece of paper of them signing? Well, if you have a credit card authorization form, you do.
Right.
So, fun story with pods. For the first, I'm there 13 years, probably the first 9 years, I took credit cards. Why? Because my guys were contractors and they were on the job and they got the credit card from the homeowners right there.
Mm-hmm.
First 8 years, I probably ran 6,000 credit cards. Didn't have a single chargeback. Very clear. My business process, et cetera, et cetera. Somebody new came in and said, yeah, that's a liability. And they changed the process. So I'm not allowed to do it. And it's like, okay, if you're going to change the process, don't make it harder. But they did. They made it harder. So either they have to call in and they do it over the phone where you beep, 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 you keep hitting the buttons, which my contractors don't have time for that. Or they have to go to a website that sometimes doesn't work. And it's like, I'm battling my own company. I'm like, I could just get that card and do it myself.
Right.
But I can't. It's against the rules. And it's really frustrating. Because I know my contractors want it.
Right. They want ease. You need to make it down dirty and quick. Yeah, for me, it used to be primarily checking cash, but like I said, when especially coming out of the pandemic, and the industry was pushing more of go this online transaction type thing, folks used to open up a credit card, but then it became, wait a minute, we could just do this on, like I said, on a Zelle or a Venmo basis.
Save the
And that's how
processing fees.
and that's how my clients, they just got comfortable with that. So it's fine with me. Like I said, I still get the same result. I'm walking out of my job. I used to walk out with the cash in my hand or a check. Now I'm getting a notice. I'm getting a text message. So-and-so just paid you. Here it is. It's done.
Money's in the account.
Right.
I also think, for me, we don't accept checks only from certain entities, large organizations, institutes. But if I was in a small business like him, I would never accept a check ever. It's not worth the paper it's written on. Just never. Piece of advice for you.
Vast majority of mine do bank transfers now.
ACH.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, ACH, and I get a lot of Zelle and the Venmo too, but also there are that percentage that they want to put on the credit card. They don't want to pay you right now.
People who don't have money. It ain't about the points because you're paying a interest rate, man. It ain't about the points.
Right.
Yeah, not with what I do. So tell us a little bit about the organized guy.
So a little bit about my background. I've been doing this now. Actually, next month will be 10 years. I've been working as a professional organizer, and really at the foundation of what I do, it's just working with people that have everyday problems. So to that, what I mean by that is it's like they have to show hoarders. Yeah. Yes, I've seen hoarder shows. Everybody thinks so. I'm the guy that's what I do. I've seen those houses. I don't really work with folks like that. I refer those out to professional organizers who have special training. It's not where I wanted my business to go, but I know professional organizers who have that training. I send that off. It's really just folks that, listen, you think about it, it's very simple. You're growing up, you're living your life, you're going on vacation, you got your job, you got your kids, you're doing everything. So what happens? The house becomes now, and most of my business is residential, by the way. So most of, everybody's out running around and the house just piles up. It's not because you're a bad person or a dirty person. You're just busy with things. So it's really going in and helping them to come up with strategic solutions to resolve the problem. I'm not in to make them feel bad. I don't make fun of them. I'm not, they already do that on their own. I just want to know, okay, we have a problem. I'm the fixer. Let's figure out how we're going to get this resolved. And that's what I do. I bring in what the possible solutions are.
So I was reading your resume or your bio. I'm a big fan of going through it and trying to pull something out of there.
I kind of figured as much.
Yeah. So when I see a guy use the word space management technician,
yes,
designing and organizing a computer library for retailer-specific merchandise. What the fuck is that? What is all that? I mean, I have an idea. Give me the short version.
It led me... It's connected to what I do now. All right. So my career started working for, corporate America. So primarily I worked most of the years in corporate America for a consulting company. And through them, I was what they call the category manager. It was a business analyst. It was a client manager, an account manager. All the titles, they're all meld together. But essentially what I used to do was we would receive sales data. Point of sale data from retailers.
Are we talking about just addresses and phone numbers?
Nope.
No,
all
POS
right, I'll give you a specific example. So you think about like chains like the Home Depot or Lowe's. Our company would receive the data from Home Depot and Lowe's and other retailers on a per item for a certain period of time. how many items of this particular item scanned through the register for a week, for a month, for a year, whatever. And we would get all this raw data. Now, part of my job was I had a department that cleaned all that data up. I gave them parameters. But once I had the data, it now allowed me to create spreadsheets, create PowerPoint, presentations. But to the space management part, I also worked on a software that designed shelf sets. So again, if thinking about working out to a
box
retail
store.
chain, box store, you'd walk down an aisle, you see all the products, you see all the facings. That's what I designed.
Cool.
And I did that for my clients or our company clients,
Yeah.
over a number of years. So it was all organizing of a different type. I organized things electronically. So the leap for me to go from that industry to what I do today, it was just a different mindset.
Definitely
So
different
instead of
version.
doing data, I'm doing people's garage or their closet or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's a big jump though, because
Yeah.
Working for
that's-
corporate America, then going
that's
out on
a
your
whole-
own, man.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
balls.
But
That
did
was the big
That's
leap. That
balls.
was the
That's
leap,
the
yes.
leap.
Is that where you saw it going originally?
I was looking for something different.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when I was looking for something different, it was when the last recession hit in 2007.
Yeah.
7, 8,
And
yeah.
back then, I mean, I wasn't in a position to, relocate out of the state to continue doing the same work I was doing. And there was no place on the island or even in the city that was hiring. And so there was a couple of year period where I was just doing research. And this rose up on the top of the map for me. And I had friends and family that were like, you organize all the time. And I'm like, yeah. And I actually found out there was an organization of professional organizers. I was
yeah.
like, holy smokes, there's actually people out there
It's
doing
a real
this.
job.
It's a real job.
Has he ever met Tina?
Tina Patel.
I know the name.
Yeah, Space by T. She does
Yeah,
the professional
yeah.
organizer. We actually had her on a couple of episodes ago. So tell us about the visual merchandising and planogram stuff. Is that so? That's how you basically
So
you
all
put it
the-
into a platform for them.
Yeah, so all the data that I would then analyze would then eventually funnel into making decisions for what goes on the shelf. So if I stick with the box store, Home Depot or Lowe's, I was responsible for the lawn and garden department for almost 10 years. I was literally across the entire country creating this visual these planograms that I would send out to actually the corporate, and corporate would send it down to their stores, and their field team would reset it every season based on, again, the data, what the data was telling us, plus what the manufacturers wanted. I want this product here, this size goes here, these are the price points. There was different criteria, but I had to end up designing it to take everything into account, and that's what I used to do.
Wow.
I love doing it. It was great.
Have you incorporated the use of AI into any of this now? Because I'm sure it's going to make your work a lot faster.
Well, he's not doing that.
I'm starting to tinker around with things, but not necessarily from a organizing standpoint yet.
Well, I'm talking about in like these,
he's not there. He's
developing
not
these.
I'm not
those
doing that
anymore.
anymore.
Oh,
This was
okay.
his
I've been doing that for
It's
10 years.
Yeah, yeah.
But I would be willing to bet that knowing the
that's-
way the industry was going,
It's taken over
Hey,
that.
yeah.
Now. It's
3D
everything
imaging.
done.
Yeah,
It's done.
yeah.
That's because I was like, they used to probably pay a bunch of people for all of this. Now you just type in the
Yeah, I would-
parameters and it's just sets everything up for you.
I would imagine it's
So let's talk about being a referral partner.
sure,
I met you in the networking world probably about 4 or 5 years ago.
longer than that.
Longer than that.
Yeah.
And how has being a good referral partner helped your business?
Oh, I mean, with you and I, Eddie, I mean, it's quite frankly, it's easy because, I have had a number of clients now that, they're moving, they're downsizing, they're doing different things in the home. And once that process for me starts working, because I do a
Listen.
great job listening.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I have to do when I'm meeting with a client.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? What is it you want? So when they start bringing me in, they go, well, I'm going to be moving. Now, whether they're moving across the island and they're moving out of state, I already know, okay, what I need to do. But then I go, oh, I know you need Eddie. And so to that end, I recently had a client where I worked with her for about 6 months. And it wasn't every day, but it was a process because, again, she's going through a move. But you came into the end of the equation because she couldn't decide, do I want to do pods or
Or the
do I
full
want
service
to move the moving company? And we talked about it. And I didn't tell her one way to go or the
Right,
other.
of
I just
course.
kind of laid out, here's the pros and cons this way, here's the pros and cons that way, and I just let it lie. And she came back to me and she goes, I thought about what you said. She goes, I think I want to go with the pods. So I said, well, guess what? I got Eddie. So I immediately gave, her, Eddie's contact information to her. She called him up. So he took care of everything, which I knew he was going to do. And the beauty was that I was still kept on, on hand because I had to now pack the pods.
There you go.
So I packed everything up with my crew, and he made sure that everything she needed was taken care of. So it wasn't just a delivery and pickup, but then because she had a difference from where she was living to where she was going, there was a short span where she needed storage. Well, guess what? He took care of that too. So it just, as always, he made me look like a rock star.
That's the goal. Make them look good. Make them look good.
She was thrilled, and everything just flowed as though we do this just every single day.
Well, we kind of do.
So
Yes.
We
you're
kinda
working.
do.
So even though you have your labor and your guys, you're still working side by side with moving companies and
Sometimes,
Yeah.
when the client, it always depends on what the client wants.
yeah.
I have my lane that I stay in as a professional organizer, and I just continue to listen as they keep talking. What else can come into the role here? Who else is in my circle that I might be able to offer up to my clients?
So I'm gonna jump in. And you mentioned bringing in crews and stuff. What happens when you need more men? Where do you go? When you need a big crew, you need 6 to 8 men. Where do you go?
I ask around and beg and plead.
Okay, stop asking around and beg.
Yeah.
Meet Ty White.
Yeah.
Pack and load pros.
Well,
There's a connection.
I heard what he said.
There's a
Yeah.
connection.
So
what
I
he
started
said.
in junk removal, which was my main thing. Like you said, you mentioned the hoarders. That was my main thing. I was doing huge hoarder clean outs and everything was clean outs. And then I met Eddie, started doing a lot of things for his clients, got me into the moving space, which I like a lot better. It's a lot cleaner, you know, it's more money, obviously. You got to
Right.
be more delicate. It's more of a white glove service than the junk removal. But I've kind of gotten good at all of it. It's a trio because, and I have the cleaning service as well. So someone's selling a house, obviously, they got to get the crap out, they got to move the stuff,
Yep.
and then they got to clean it up.
Yep.
That's why I made that one-stop shop, because after I would come and do all the junk removals, they'd be like, hey, do you know a cleaner? Do you know a mover now? And it's like, I'm already here with the trucks. I'm already here with the guys. Now I just need to train them now differently, as don't just bust everything up and take it out. Protect it, and so
Right.
I could. So now you're somebody who now after that process stays with them to help them further organize and stay organized, because that I could recommend a lot. I could recommend you a lot because people want me to do that, and that's not why I'm here to get this place empty, get it clean. I'm not gonna make help you like yesterday. I
Great new referral connection.
Yeah, for real.
So the way that you and I would work, because I've done this over and over again, is that I get brought in and I work with them as the kind of basically the project manager. I'm
GC.
the point.
He's
I'm
the
the
GC.
point man. So we'll keep it simple. They bring me in and say, you know what, Vinny, I want you to pack up the kitchen. I have guys that can do it, but I trust you. You're the professional organizer. So we're going to downsize, we're going to purge, and I'm going to pack everything. And now Ty comes in, and guess what? Now they bring in the pod, and you come in with your crew. I've marked all the boxes, everything's labeled, blah, blah, blah. You just take everything in now.
Boom.
You bring in,
Boom.
and you take, and then
Because there's a step before I get there that needs to happen,
Right.
Which is
Right.
you.
Right.
So a lot of the times,
And a lot of times that he goes on the jobs, that step hasn't happened, and he needs to.
And
start.
I'll find myself doing these things, but that's not what I don't want to pack your china, and that's a different service.
absolutely.
All right, we need to move on.
Okay.
Yeah, you go with that one.
No, start it off, brother.
All right. So I saw your trifold that you sent over to me. The Aging in Place organization. Has this been a strong revenue draw, this organization, or the vertical, or both?
It's been a great connection through the years. I get a fair amount of work out of them because for me, the reason for my being there is that, like I said in my brochure, I'm there for life transitions. In this case, when I first started that thought process, it really was thinking about mom and dad aging,
100%.
whether they stay in the house or they move on to the assisted living, or unfortunately, if they pass away.
Correct.
It's one of those three scenarios. But really, life transitions could be somebody gets divorced, you still have the same things going on. there's still reasons for both of you guys to be brought into that job.
So I'm going to jump in.
Jump.
When I'm at that organization. Give me the acronym NA.
National Aging in Place Council.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So what I bring to the table is more geared towards the family.
Correct.
The leftover sons and daughters that aren't here in state. They're out of state.
Mm-hmm.
The organized guy is there. We got to get rid of all this crap. We need some to go to junk. Some 3-5 pieces are going to go to the assisted living. But mom wants to save some stuff. So my pitch is take a small pods container, not the big one.
Mm-hmm.
Mom, you can take everything that could fit in this container, all your worldly possessions. Put it in here. Eddie's going to put it in his warehouse. When you want to go visit it, Eddie will bring it out for you.
Right.
When you die, I hate to say it, your children can pick up the phone and have that container shipped anywhere in the country.
Correct.
Which is a heartbreaking time to have to do that afterwards. But if you do it before, the adult children appreciate it.
Yeah.
I've had some great conversations with those children who received their container. Like, are you kidding me? She paid 2 years for this garbage?
But it makes perfect sense. I mean, you think about what families go through, on the side that has nothing to do with us. They're already dealing with the lawyers, they're dealing with the CPAs and the accountants, and they're dealing with the financial advisors. And that's really all critical the realtors, that's all critical stuff. And then they get to the physical stuff that's in the home. And they go, oh, well, what are we going to do about this? And everybody goes, well, we'll do it ourselves.
Yeah,
Right?
Until they don't. Until they don't.
And then 6 months later, or 8 months later, 9 months
taxes, all this time.
Dude, you're right on level with me. I tell people that all the time. I said, they go, well, it's going to cost money to have you come in and do this. I go, whoa.
How many months of
Who's
tax?
paying the taxes? You still, mom and dad still have a mortgage. So you're draining down mom and dad's hard-earned money, and you're going to throw it away on the mortgage because you have to look at every piece of paper in the house. When I could have came in, Ty could have came in, Eddie comes in, and guess what? You want to be out in 30 days?
Done.
We got you out.
You're out.
So what separates you from the rest of the competitors? Like you said, it's a huge organization of organizers.
In my industry, the hugest and the most obvious is that it's a female-dominated industry.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
All right. So, and my female competitors, the ladies do phenomenal work. As I know a bunch of them. But I don't get too caught up with what do they do versus what I do. I'm just me. I like to come in and I want to be real with my clients. I want to lay out, what the situation is. And I want to let them understand and let them know that, hey, listen, I got your back. I'm here to protect you. That's what you hire me for. And again, just have a conversation with them and let them know I'm genuine and I'm here to work with them.
Well, you're in the industry also where I feel like a lot of people don't even know that you exist.
That's a big problem.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
you're
it's
right.
not like a mover where I could walk into any house and hear 30 horror stories about the last 5 movers that you had. And they're like, oh, they broke everything and they did this. So, but
Yeah, we are a secret industry.
every client is not going to say, oh, well, the last organizer, they probably didn't have one ever. You're probably so I can see what you mean, but you don't have to pay attention to what everybody else is doing because you're in such a select industry.
We got to introduce some of our realtor friends. Do you know Chris Galuzzo?
I do not.
I got to introduce him to Chris Galuzzo. He sells about 150, 200 homes a year here on Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that Ty does a lot of work for. I do a bunch of pods moves for, but we got to get him in. We got to do that. What new initiatives are you bringing into your industry? What new initiative to sell more, promote more? What are you doing new? A new initiative.
This year, the flyer that I gave you, that was, I want to put all that together in one place so I can give that out to people to do. It's really putting more focus and emphasis on this, again, this idea of life transitions. I do a lot of what I could call general organizing over the years. That's really been the mainstay of my business. But it's really, again, that life transition. So it's like clients I just wrapped up with. You talked earlier about people being out of state. Had a gentleman that contacted me. He lives out of state, comes down every now and then, but his parents had passed away. House actually was in my own town, and he brought me in 6 months ago, for initially he just said, well, you're going to throw everything away. And I said, no, we need to go through the house. But it was working with him and being, again, his eyes on the ground when he couldn't come into town. But it was all around this, again, this concept of this life transition.
Yes.
You know, and I have other people that moving, life transition, people who have passed away, life transition. So it's really, that's been one thing that I really want to put more highlight on or spotlight on for 2024. It's really where I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really the place I want to be because like we've been talking about, you know, you think about it, once I get in, you know, I always know once I get in my foot in the door in that environment that I know I can call you. I know I can, and I have other people. It really does open up
A lot of doors.
a lot of collaboration.
So you know what opens up doors for me in the junk removal industry, and he sees it. People's eyes get wide when I talk about it. I tell him I'm a junk removal, but my junk removal is all based on charitable donation. So it's St. Vincent de Paul, Angela's House, Open Door Exchange, Big Reuse, Habitat for Humanity. I'm trying my best to get those items there first.
Instead of the landfill.
If they will not
Absolutely,
take, if they
100%.
absolutely, it's cheaper for me, obviously, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't want to pay $180 a ton.
Yeah, but you're not doing it for that. I know you're not.
No, but
And I know you're not.
But when I say it, like when people think, "Oh, you're bullshit," and you're not gonna try to, I'm like, no, literally,
I'll give you
it'll
the receipt.
save me money to get it to the donation, and that's why they're like, "Oh, my mom's going into the assisted living. She just wants to see her stuff go to somebody."
So I'm right on track with you. So the one I just gave, the example I just gave with the gentleman who lived out of state, when I met him, and the first session we got together for the consultation I did with him, he says, "Oh, you're gonna throw?" He goes, I don't care, just throw all this stuff away." I said, "Whoa, wait a minute, throw it all away." And so we took a tour of the house, and it turned out his mother, especially, had beautiful clothes. And then we just went down every room. I went down. I go, "Wait, donate, 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 donate." And I told him at one point, I said to him, as we were like about 3/4 of the way through the project, I said, and I took everything. I use Ambets and Copeg primarily.
Yeah, and
for
they're
They're great.
the best. They're the best.
But I wanted him to understand, because he was happy, like you were saying.
Yeah.
He was happy. He goes, "Yeah, it's great that someone else is getting use of my parents' things."
Sure.
I said, "Well, I'm going to give you one more." I said, "Because I know how my trash guys charge." I said, "And I guarantee you," I said, "just based on visually what we got rid of, I probably saved you close to $2,000 in trash fees."
Yeah.
And he stopped and he goes, "Really?" I said, "Really?"
Yeah.
I said, "So, you did a great thing, by doing this and having no donations." I said, "But you also saved yourself a ton of money."
So, are you looking to expand? Are you expanding currently? Are you getting?
Or is it still a one-man show?
It's still a one-man show. It's always a great question. And I'll be honest with you, I don't have the answer.
Okay. Move on. No.
I will tell you this much. I used to always have the vision of having a team of organizers. But I've learned in the almost 10 years I've been doing this why the vast majority of my industry works on their own. I honestly, I would love to be able to send people out and say, "Hey, I got 12 jobs this week," and I just drive around and make sure they're all being done. But it just doesn't. I haven't found the magic formula as to why.
All right. I'm gonna have you do that one, and I'll do the last one. Go ahead.
Where do you see the organized guy in 5 years? Then that kind of ties into that,
Tying in
Yeah.
South Carolina.
You know what? I still see myself organizing, but more importantly, I've had my eye on the idea of potentially doing a podcast. And the other thing that's come up over the years in conversation is, and it was funny when I saw you published your book, I was like, I got to talk to Eddie, because
Happy to help you.
I've thought about the same, because I have I got that vision in my head of what I would put in a book. And then the third part would be to create educational videos. In other words, do like a mastermind type project where I could talk about a topic, and I started, at one point we started going down the road of exploring it. It's got legs of doing that as passive income.
You could also have a social media presence showing people proper ways to keep their homes and things like that, like little stuff like that catches buzz, and next thing you know, you have all the attention in the world, and then you can you know, put whatever product there you want after all that attention is there. But people love that little stuff, you know.
So I'm doing a few things behind the scenes right now to do some exploring on that.
You'll
Awesome.
have to keep me up to date, and I would happy to have a conversation with you about the book.
Yeah, I would love to.
Great instincts from all the things that I learned doing it myself. Last question. This is the first time I'm asking you guys this question.
Great. Hit me.
If there's one person in history that you could have dinner with, who would it be?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question.
I know.
We're gonna yeah, I like that.
I like that.
So the person that first person that
Go
pops
ahead.
in my head is John Adams, second president of the United
Second president,
States.
yeah.
Wow.
And the reason why is that was it back in 2008, HBO came out with that miniseries about him. And I love that miniseries. It was phenomenal. And what I realized coming out of that was how much he actually did as one of the founding fathers and how little
The credit he got for it.
I mean, you go down to D.C., you don't find any statues of him. It's all Franklin and Jefferson and Washington. And here this guy, you know, again, watching, you know, and I read the book about him and stuff. It was just phenomenal. I'm like, this guy did so much
Yeah.
and just got blindsided by history, kicked to the curb.
A lot of the presidents did.
Yeah. So you survived the interview process, but we're not done yet. So I told you this was supposed to happen about 12 minutes ago.
Yeah. No, we'll save it for the end. That's good. That's good. It's a
All
nice,
right.
nice closer.
For all three of us, best big win, best new connection. So for me, my best win was an IF move from Texas to New York City, 2 containers, starting in 2 different locations in Texas, going to 2 different locations in New York, and he's doing the load on it. He's doing the unload on it. So
Okay.
that was my...
Is that Clint?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's my best new win. And the best new connection is the Atomic Networking Group that we mentioned earlier. They've opened the doors to me and trying to help me add more referral partners, more connections, not necessarily at night, luncheons and breakfasts. So I'm getting out of my comfort zone again, finding a new group to expand my network on. What about you, bro?
My best new win, big win, is the rebrand. Kind of stepped away from the junk removal. So, guys, stop calling me for right now for junk removal.
What's the name of the company?
Pack Pros. And our website is live, thepackpros.com. Our LinkedIn is live, The Pack Pros. Next week, we're going to put up some promotional stuff. We got our T-shirts. We got our bank account. We got our credit card processing. We got our insurance. We got our workers' comp. Everything's, coming in. So it's been a rough 3 weeks in the transition because, like I said, it's been getting busy as the transition is happening.
Naturally.
So I'm trying to cross things over to the other company.
Yeah, your insurance is due on one company. Yeah. Insurance due on the new company. Eddie, what do I do?
Yeah. So everything's been going great. New connection. I would have to say Atomic Networking because the what was the guy's
Adam
name?
and Tom.
Adam. He definitely wanted to give me a hand in making my presence more solid in the social media stuff because I have a personal following. But he's like, dude, get out in the front of your company, put your face there. He's like, you got charisma, people like you. Get out there in front of the company and promote. Like my new website's got all stock images and things. He's like, dude.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, take some pictures.
Yeah.
Put your shirts
100%.
on. Do what you got to do. And I always hide from the camera, but it's like it's time to.
Gotta be Eddie Potts, man. Accept the spotlight. Take it.
On my social media posts, I've seen the same thing. I watch the interaction.
Yeah.
And when I'm in it, or even if it's a still picture, the engagement is way higher than I just put a picture of a project that I did.
Yeah. Yep.
In my industry, people want to see me.
They want to see. Yeah, they want to see you.
All right. Best big win for you?
Best big win. Okay, best big win is a job I don't even have to do. So I got a call from an elder care lawyer. It ended up being for a biohazard clean out, which
Okay.
I don't do.
I've done
GC'd it out, marked it up 20%.
So
took it home.
I have a biohazard company that I use. They're going to handle it. And
What's the name of it? The environmental guys? Mike?
could be Mike. He used to be with a company called Bio One. And
Yes, that's why I thought of that.
Yeah.
I sold him hockey. I used to work for the Islanders, and he was a season ticket holder. and I've bumped into him on so many networking events. His company's changed over the years
Yeah.
and stuff. But he's a good dude. Really.
Yeah, he is. No, he's great. I've been I've used him a couple of times, but he got the job. So that was my win because
You got a commission.
I just had to make
a
phone
phone call.
calls and
There you
connections.
go. There you go.
And speaking about connections, not a new connection, but a reconnection. I had another elder care lawyer that used to live in my town in Massapequa, and she relocated onto the island. Kind of lost touch with each other, and we've now reconnected. So there's some new business coming from her.
So your second best new connection is Ty White.
Yes.
That's a good connection to have because when balls hit the wall and you need manpower, you don't want to be at the mall, at Home Depot. You want him.
No,
You want him.
yeah.
All right. So this is a new part of our show. We haven't done this before. Best new business decision of the week. So for me, my company made it for me. After in another couple of weeks, I am not going to be doing any traveling, just local traveling for the rest of the year. No trade shows, no flying around, trying to cut back a little. So it's really forcing me to do more networking, local networking, instead of traveling out of state to do, because I go to Chamber of Commerce meetings and associations, bringing it all back home. They're forcing me to keep it home, but that's always a win.
Mm-hmm.
So they made the decision for me, thank you, and it's just making me stay closer to home, which I like to travel. What about you, Ty? Best new business decision?
I think my best new business decision with this new company is
Verizon over T-Mobile?
Yeah, whatever. Oh God. Actually,
Never mind. God.
yeah, Verizon. Yeah, thanks. Shout out to Verizon. But I think it's until I find my solid guys that I want a W-2.
Mm-hmm.
I 1099 my laborers for the first couple of months.
It's a good move.
Just to see who's gonna stick, who's not gonna stick.
Right.
And
It's tough investing in workman's comp on people who
that's the
leave in
difference.
2 weeks.
I
So
didn't
it's
have
just-
workers' comp before. Now,
Yeah.
going into this workers' comp and all of this stuff, I can't just hire guys left and right, and who knows what their intentions are. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I got to make
business,
sure.
partners, you have
these-
people that you have to answer to, not just you anymore.
Yeah,
which
so-
is holding you accountable, which is a good thing.
So we 1099 the guys for a couple of months, so we see, who's capable of staying, and that's how
Who
that's
you wanna
how
keep on.
who we want to keep on. That's
Plus,
it.
you have to have business there.
Yep.
Best new decision of the
So
week.
for me, it was something that didn't happen particularly this week, but it was recent. But it's still flowing. Is because I'm a solopreneur and I'm just thinking, okay, there's things I need to do. There were some things I had on my to-do list, my goal list for 2024, and finally decided to stop putting my head against the wall, beat myself over the head, and I reached out to the Small Business Development Center over at Farmingdale College, and I said, well, because the light bulb went off. I says, wait a minute, putz, you have resources at your fingertips, use them. So I actually met with them on.
To teach a class? Or?
No. There's some initiatives again that I have on my 24 goal list, and I know what I bring to the table, but there's some things I don't. And I said, well, but they do, and they have the resources. So I'm very happy with the decision I made. I've already been meeting with them, and I've been feeling really charged up talking to them about what I want.
Vinny, how can our fans, how can they reach you? How can they find you? Where? What's your website?
So two easiest places to reach me is my website, which is www.theorganizedguy.com.
Theorganizedguy.com.
And when they're on there, I did add this a couple months ago a booking tab, so they can actually book a complimentary video consultation with me.
Ooh, I
So-
like that video. I'm not wasting my ass driving all the way out to your house.
What are you
for a
using, Zoom?
freebie.
Yeah,
Very
it works
good.
beautifully. I've been doing them. It's been working
Video
for
walkthroughs. I'm gonna incorporate that more. I used to do them small, but I
It's
think
been great.
I'm gonna really start.
It's been great.
Honing in on that.
It's great all around.
Yeah.
Or they can reach me in my phone number, which is 516-456-3461. That's my cell. Text me, call me 24/7.
Ty, do you know your new phone number?
Yeah, my new phone number is 631-626-6290, and you can reach me at thepackpros.com, and my email is TYE at thepackpros.com.
Ty, why don't you tell everybody where they're going to find the future of our podcast on YouTube? We need to get that out there. because it's not where it was.
No, it's still going to be how to become a sales at
Okay, it's gonna be the same. Okay,
Yeah,
very good,
same.
very
Our
good.
channels will be changing. Our subscribers will have to resubscribe, have some technical difficulties, but everything will be right back up
And if
before you know it.
if you are looking to move, renovate, restore, and you need a pods container or you just want to check it out, get a price, you reach me at 631-334-8587. You can find my book on how to become a sales warrior on Amazon, Kindle.com. We're there. I think we're up over 100 sales so far.
Nice.
I'm excited about that. And if you're looking for any coaching or help with your business, taking direct hits out of my book, you can find me at howtobecomeasaleswarrior.com. This has been wonderful. This has been a great show. Vinny, loved having you here.
Thank you.
This is a wrap for episode number 11. We'll be back next week.